On this edition of Gameball NFL Endzone, we're going to recap everything that's happened thus far in the 2019 free agency. Even though it's April 1st, I promise you are not being fooled. We are back. It is the start of season number 3 right here on Gameball NFL Endzone, and it begins now. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. I'm Marcus Young Genie Jenkins.
It's your boy, Michael Riley.
And of course, holding it down for our brother Luke Hartnett, and a happy belated birthday to him as well. Of course, he's not here, so we do best. We're going to hold it down for our brother. So shout out to Luke Hartnett, man. We will see you soon. Now we're going to get started into the 2019 free agency. We're going to recap starting with the New York Giants, and they've been busy over this off season, and and we're just now getting into April, and so there's a lot of things that can still go down between that time. But speaking of the New York Giants, they have agreed to trade and will send Pro Bowl outside linebacker Olivier Vernon to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for right guard Kevin Zeitler. The Giants will send a 4th-round pick, 132nd overall in the upcoming NFL draft to the Browns for a 5th-round selection, which would be 155th overall. Mike, what do you think about this move by the Giants?
Well, it's a win-and-win situation for this particular trade with the Giants and Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns need another pass rusher to go along with the other pass rusher that they already have developing and all that good stuff. And the Giants really needed help at that offensive line, because you seen last season Eli Manning was practically on a suicide watch every time. He probably had to call 911 emergency, standing right there, make sure that he didn't get hurt too bad, whatever. They probably had to turn him in some Luty bin or whatever for watching for suicide, give him some medication or something. I don't know. It was just flat out horrible, especially on that right side, because you had Solder, who signed a big contract of the left tackle. You also draft Will Hernandez for a 2nd-round pick as well, who started coming on his own. Then you already have a center, and the right side of the guard and the right tackle was horrible last year, especially with Flowers. They had to rotate offensive line after offensive line on that side. Particularly, Eli Manning was running for his life. And Saquon Barkley, even though he did pretty good, had over 1,000 yards as a rookie, he won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, he was still getting checked a little bit at the right side. So I feel like if you wanted to help Eli get his game better and the offense to be better, you have to get an offensive line to solidify the right side. Everybody's blaming on Eli about the quarterback throwing too much interception, taking too many sacks. Well, what can you do if you don't have a right side solidified? So in this particular, I agree with this trade. And it's a win-win for both teams, especially the Giants. They really need help on that offensive line side.
All right, the New York Giants, this is one of just a few moves that we'll talk about during this episode. But we're going to move from the Giants and we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. They have traded defensive end Michael Bennett to the New England Patriots. The Eagles getting a 5th-round pick in the 2020 draft from the Patriots and sending a 2020 7th-round pick along with Bennett. What do you think about this move by Philadelphia?
For both teams, especially for the Patriots, who I'm a big fan of, I love this move. This is a Bill Belichick type of move. Of course, he's going to find players that are very smart and versatile on that defensive line spot, can play the 4 technique, the 5 technique, inside, outside, whatever. He is versatile, and at his age, 33, he'll still play at a high level. And the Philadelphia Eagles last year, he was balling. I mean, he was just beating the offensive line, getting to the quarterback, being disruptive, stopping the run and all that stuff, and be disruptive in the passing game. And Philadelphia feel like they had to trade him because their other upcoming defensive lines started to progress. And also they gave their pass rusher, I forgot his name, a 3-year extension, Brandon Ingram or something like that maybe. So this is a good trade for the Patriots. And plus, the Patriots lost Trey Flowers. We're going to talk about that. They're not going to overpay people for their service. Belichick, this is why Belichick is so successful, and he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's like, I'm not going to overpay player. You know what I'm saying? I could take a player from a different team and give him like a 5th or 7th round pick for it and get like a reward stats and possibly another Super Bowl with that. Belichick is playing chess with everybody's checkers in the offseason, where everybody's signing over playing Paris. Belichick's like, I'm going to chill back and let it all happen. And what happens every year? They're always in the AFC Conference Championship and their Super Bowl. So it's a win for Belichick because he is like the Grand Master Shaolin of the NFL and knows how to do it right. Everybody's trying to copycat the Patriots, but it doesn't work. We've seen this happen from time in and time out. So this is a good trade for both teams, especially for the Patriots, because they are getting a player who they want last year who missed out and offer a higher draft pick to Seattle, but Seattle already made the trade with Philly. But now they got their guy, and Bennett could bring a lot of potential, probably another Super Bowl like his little brother Martellus Bennett. Right. So this is a good win for the Patriots and Eagles, and Belichick's going to get his the Patriots going to get their money's worth. And like Michael Bennett said, Belichick is the Yoda of the NFL. So he basically is. So I expect him to have a very good season, and he's going to be versatile in that front 7 defensive line of the Patriots.
That's definitely, I agree with that. I mean, let's be 100% honest. Could you ever really see a player like upset they got traded to New England? I mean, just being 100% honest, because obviously if you got traded there, number one, you were wanted. You know, you were wanted to be sent there, and you more than likely have a chance to play deep into the playoffs on a yearly basis. So, I mean, this is definitely a great move for Michael Bennett, and we'll see what happens.
And also, by letting Trey Flowers go to the free agency, they also get a 3rd-round compensatory pick for next year. So that's a win for them as well. So what can you say? Belichick does what Belichick does, as always.
And it seems like no matter what they do, I mean, and that's, to be 100% honest, I mean, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I'm one of those people that I respect what they do because they always find ways to get better, and they always find ways to invest in the future. So, I mean, even the day that Tom Brady leaves, you know, you would be confident if you're a Patriots fan that they're going to have somebody in place that they can groom into that winning tradition and keep that success going, you know, going forward.
The only time the Patriots pay high-priced players is cornerbacks, and Stephon Gilmore is the best one they have, and that was the best investment they had made.
Stats don't lie, so that's all you can really say. Moving on from Philly, New England, this is going to be a fun one. Let's go on and get into it.
Let's get into it.
Let's go on and get into this one. Obviously, everyone definitely knows about this one, but it's not official until you hear it here on Gameball NFL Endzone. So we're going to talk about it. The Pittsburgh Steelers have agreed to trade Pro Bowl wide receiver Mr. Antonio Brown to the Oakland Raiders in exchange for a 3rd and 5th round pick. Brown will receive a new 3-year deal worth up to $54.125 million from the Raiders, with $30.125 million guaranteed, according to a source. He previously had 3 years and $38.9 million left on his contract with the Steelers, with none of that money being guaranteed. Obviously, this is a win for Pittsburgh. How do you think this will pan out for Antonio Brown? Obviously, this is a big payday for him. He's definitely going into a situation in which, number one, the Pittsburgh Steelers you're going to a regular playoff contender. The Oakland Raiders were 4-12 in the AFC West a year ago with a 25% win percentage. What kind of impact do you think that he'll have in Oakland?
Well, let's start off with the trade part. Pittsburgh screwed themselves. Let's just be honest. Yeah. They got jinxed by the Oakland Raiders. Mm-hmm. The Oakland Raiders basically took what the Patriots did, their book, and it's like, we'll give you a 3rd round and a 5th round for Antonio Brown. And Pittsburgh Steelers caved in after they declared we're not going to take any less pick. Now, the source was the Patriots had offered a 2nd and a 4th round to the Steelers, but why would you take that? Instead, you take less. That does not make sense to me at all. And plus, with the dead money cap that they still owe to Antonio Brown, that is a $21 million cap hit that the Pittsburgh Steelers, with that dead money, they still going to have to pay Antonio Brown. So technically, Oakland Raiders won this. Oakland Raiders hoodwinked the Pittsburgh Steelers. They jinxed them. They put that little hocus pocus spell on you, whatever they did, and they got what they got. And let's talk about the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders couldn't go wrong with this because they're not paying the dead money like the Pittsburgh Steelers did. And this will help Derek Carr out a little bit better, even though it may not seem, it seems like a bad team. But let's be honest, Derek Carr didn't really have no weapons last season with that offense. And that offensive line was horrible. So now they got Trent Brown for the Patriots. We'll talk about that here later on. And they can kick the rookie outside on the right tackle or guard, and he could develop that part, and they would be better at that line. And this is on Derek Carr's shoulders now. You got one of the best receivers, and Antonio Brown is a hard worker, and he gets it done. So congratulations to Antonio Brown and the Oakland Raiders. This looks good on paper, but let's see how they will play out during the season because right now you're playing one of the toughest division in football in the AFC West. Would you agree? So, so now you're going against the juggernaut, which is the Chiefs, and Oakland Raiders is like, if we got to beat the Chiefs, we got to get weapons to help Derek Carr to beat the big dog in the AFC West, and this is a start of doing that going forward.
All right, a big win for Antonio Brown. And on top of that, I mean, I would have to imagine with this being their last year in Oakland, correct? Before they go to Las Vegas?
Yes.
So, I mean, imagine just how much more revenue Antonio Brown could also get by moving to Vegas. The marketing, I mean, this is a huge, huge, huge win for Antonio Brown. I don't even want to know what would have happened if he would have went to the Patriots. So, like, that
wouldn't be fair.
That's a done deal.
And plus, and the owners and everybody else was mad at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, why did you take less after you project you wouldn't take less? And why would you take more from the Patriots? Because the Patriots offer a 2nd and a 4th round. Think about it. I would have took the higher road than the 3rd and the 5th round. I'm just saying.
I want to ask you this. So obviously, we're going to talk about a little later on in the episode as well. Obviously, with Le'Veon Bell and Le'Veon Bell and his move to the Jets. What do you think this does for Ben Roethlisberger moving forward? That he's lost like 2 great weapons at his disposal.
Well, there was a lot of distraction going on in the offseason with the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. First, it was Le'Veon Bell, who also did an interview with somebody on ESPN the other day exposing Big Ben was the problem, and same thing with Antonio Brown. So now that's gone. It is on Big Ben's shoulders to be a leader, a better leader, and stop criticizing his players.
Right. Yeah.
So that's on him. So if he can stop doing that, there'll be a better team. Now it's on Juju Smith-Schuster, who balled out. So now it's on his shoulders to be a number 1 receiver for in place of Antonio Brown.
All right, it's going to be a fun season for the Raiders and Pittsburgh. I mean, I would imagine there would still have to be a huge distraction. I don't think things get any easier with the whole Le'Veon Bell circus that happened. Now with Antonio Brown gone, I'm pretty sure they'll have to answer that for a long time. Even if they were to take a loss, you think if Antonio Brown was here, you think this would? I mean, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of questions. So it's not that circus is far from over in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's not even close to being over. So it's gonna be definitely interesting to see. I know Raiders fans are definitely rejoicing.
Oh yeah,
One of my good friends.
a
Shout out
lot
to Carlos
of-
Cadones, man.
lot of Raider fans we know are happy.
Raider Nation, stand up. We're going to go from Oakland, and we're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars as former Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end Malik Jackson is expected to sign a 3-year, $10 million contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jackson, who signed the richest contract in Jaguars history back in 2016, was released by the team March 8th after his playing time decreased significantly following the loss of his starting job in 2018. Do you think this is a good find by Philly, and what does this do for Malik Jackson's rebuilding?
Well, for defensive tackle Malik Jackson, who signed a contract already with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to get better. I think last year Jacksonville was a bad situation for him because you dealt with the inconsistency of the offense, and especially with Blake Bortles, or Bench Bortles, you should say his name is. His garbage self, he's gone from the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll talk about that later. But I think he could revive his career with the Philadelphia Eagles and possibly bring a championship to the Eagles again. So this, I think they will get the best out of him. They got the best out of him when they went to the AFC Championship game against the Patriots a couple of years back when they had that good run. So he still have a lot of potential in there, but does he want it? That's the question. Is he going to get enough effort and practice at the game? We don't know. We'll have to see, because last season it was a disappointing season for Malik Jackson. So he got to turn this season around. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Best of luck to Malik Jackson and his new journey into Philadelphia. Speaking of, we've been talking about this team actually quite a bit, but New England, former New England Patriots left tackle Trent Brown signs a 4-year, $66 million contract that includes $36.75 million guaranteed with the Oakland Raiders. The $16.5 million average annual value of the deal is the highest for an offensive lineman in NFL history. The Oakland Raiders definitely seem to be making some big moves this offseason thus far. With this being an addition at left tackle, what does this do for Oakland?
Well, you got all that cap room, and you got close to $100 million in cap. You better spend that money. Of course, this helps big for the Oakland Raiders, and I hope Trent Brown is successful, because we all know in the past that players from the Patriots who sign big money contracts don't really pan out. As history repeats itself, I'm not trying to knock on him, put excursions on him. He's a hell of a good player and a hell of a good find. But what revived his career is, you might as well say the GOAT of the offensive line is Dante Scarnecchia of the Patriots, the offensive line coach. Reinvented his career, his technique, his blocking skills, and he wrote down his letters. He thanked Dante Scarnecchia for bringing the love of football back into again. And when Trent Brown played, he showed out on that left side, because you had Nate Solder gone, and the rookie that they drafted in the first round last season tore his Achilles heel. So they was like, they don't have no true left tackle, blah, blah. You know how other media outlets are. But when it came the time to show up, he showed out, especially in the playoffs. He did not give up a sack on his side. He shut down Joey Bosa. He shut down Melvin Ingram. He shut down D Ford, the former Chiefs defensive line. He shut down Justin Houston, the way they was rotating. He shut down Dante Fowler, who almost had a sack, but the sack came from the middle, from the other defensive line, the tackle spot. He just shut down everybody. For as big as he is, he can move. For a big lineman, he's like 6'8", and he's very powerful. And I like the way he blocks. So if Oakland can still work with him and translate that, and Trent Brown can still translate this game, he'll be the best offensive tackle that for the upcoming season. So now you got the richest contract. There is pressure coming on you now. So how you going to deal with that pressure, we don't know. But I'm rooting for him to succeed in Oakland, and he helped the Patriots win a Super Bowl championship last year, and Oakland gave him a contract offer he couldn't refuse.
Absolutely. All right, the Oakland Raiders with another big find for them. Seems like things are definitely looking a lot more up for the Oakland Raiders thus far. They've been having a great offseason, and once again, it's only April 1st, so still plenty of time. Plus, you got the NFL draft coming up, so
Because their main focus was offense on the free agency. Now they can focus more on the defense in the draft, and they have 3 first-round picks. And this year's draft, it's a lot of good defensive players, especially at defensive line. Woo! I can't wait.
All right, NFL draft coming up later this month. The Oakland Raiders, they're on the board. They're making some great moves. All right, we're going to move forward. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers lineman Quan Alexander Buccaneers linebacker, Quan Alexander signs a 4-year, $54 million deal that includes $27 million guaranteed with the San Francisco 49ers. Alexander sustained a torn ACL on October 21st last season. Do you think this is kind of a risk, though, for the 49ers? We know with ACL injuries, it takes quite some time to heal. Players seem to not bounce back the same.
Yeah, I think this was a little reach, but in their mind, they had to do it. If that was me, I'd be like, do a 1-year, prove-a-year contract. At least do 1 year, see how you develop. If you ball or do good, then you get your money. That's what I would want if I was a 49ers general manager, to be honest with you. He is a hell of a good player. When I say this is like a true sideline to sideline linebacker who can play coverage and well stop the run, he is a true good linebacker till he tore his ACL. And we all know ACL injuries to overcome. It takes about 1.5 to 2 years fully to recover from that. So we'll see how it goes. But this is a little bit a risky reach, assign him that big money contract. But in their minds, they had to feel like they do it because other teams was pursuing him. If that was me, I would at least gave him a 1-year, $12 or $13 million deal, see what we can do from there. And if he balls out, then pay him. So it's a little bit of reach, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
I was going to say, I would imagine also at his position. So, I mean, it's great that he has an opportunity in Quan Alexander to kind of reprove himself because, once again, ACL injuries, you follow sports, that's nothing to play with.
Oh,
I mean,
no, it's
those
not.
are career-altering injuries. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he does. And, I mean, obviously, you would imagine he's not going to be ready for the start of the season as well. So, he's still going to be in that rehabilitation process in the meantime. Do you think this is more of a future investment more than anything? Obviously, with 4 years, but do you think that the 49ers are necessarily expecting him to be available like this upcoming season?
That's the sign this contract. That's what it tells me, but we don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out.
All right. Quan Alexander, once again, on the move to the 49ers for a deal that includes, that's a $54 million contract with $27 million guaranteed. Moving forward, former New York Giants Pro Bowl safety Landon Collins signs with the Washington Redskins. The deal is for 6 years, $84 million, including $45 million in guaranteed money. That's quite a contract.
That is stupid ridiculous. Just let me get 10% of that contract.
Man.
Let me get 10%. Can a brother hold $100?
For real.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, what do you think about this fine with Landon Collins for the Washington Redskins?
After letting Clinton Dix go, they had to sign him. He's a good player. He kind of reminds me of Troy Polamalu / Ed Reed in box safety that can play the run and get blitz off of that. And it's also good in the passing game. If I was the Redskins, I would have kept Clinton Dix a 1-year contract to go along with Landon Collins. That would be a best dual safety. That's just my opinion. Looking at defense, especially you're going up in the NFC East, aka NFC least. You're going up against the Dallas Cowboys and that running game with Ezekiel Elliott and that offensive line. You're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles and their wide receivers and all that. So I would have did that. But this is a good move by the Redskins. They feel like they had to pull the trigger. That's like, we're going to offer you this and come play with us. Hopefully their defense gets better by signing him, and he'll make it better. We'll just have to see how it goes. But it's for right now on paper, it's a good deal for the Redskins. Let's see how it plays out in the upcoming 2019 season.
84 million. 45 million guaranteed.
Can you loan brother $100? Loan brother 100.
I know. I'll pay you back next Friday. All right, moving from the Redskins. Jumping back to the Patriots, former two-time Super Bowl champion, Patriots defensive end Trey Flowers has agreed to sign a 5-year deal, roughly $90 million with the Detroit Lions. That is expected to be average between 16 and 17 million per year. How great of a move is this for the Detroit Lions?
It's a great move for the Detroit Lions on paper, but let's see how it plays out. I mean, Trey Flowers is a good, versatile player. He's a good leader. He's a hard worker. And Matt Patricia's second year, he's trying to incorporate that Patriot culture into the Lions, and it didn't work out so well with them. So last season, but they felt like they had to sign him to show him that this is how it gets done. So he is a very good leader. Stats-wise, may not tell you, but you can line him up anywhere. He's very versatile. He can play at the defensive end spot. He can play at the defensive line spot. He can play the 3 technique as long as the 5 technique. You can move him anywhere. He'll stand up. He'll play coverage and everything. He is a versatile defensive lineman. And those are one of those good players that rarely find. And this is a good player for the Detroit Lions. Let's see how it pans out this season. And we all know, as I said in the last part, when the Patriots go for big money contracts, they don't really pan out too well. But I wish Trey Flowers the best. He helped the Patriots get 2 Super Bowls, especially that comeback one against Atlanta when he had 2 huge sacks and a pressure that caused the holding to where they came back from 25 points and won against the Falcons. So, and plus in this playoffs, he was one of the main key players that helped the Patriots succeed in that defense. He helped shut down the Los Angeles Chargers. He helped shut down the Chiefs in the first half, and he definitely helped shut down the Rams in the Super Bowl with his versatility when you move around. So good players like that are hard to find. Let's see it translate to the Lions. I wish him well. Everybody does, but let's see how it translates.
One question I do want to ask you, being a Patriots fan and obviously following the Patriots for a lot of years, what is it about former Patriots in which it seems as if that success doesn't always carry over? Do you think it's because really the Patriots and Belichick have that great of a system, and they just can't find ways to adjust afterwards? What do you think it is yourself?
Well, some can and some don't. It's probably just the system, the way the system is placed for the players to play at that Patriot system to be successful at. Some has successfully had good careers with other teams with big money contracts. Some, but most of them don't. So it's more likely it's the system that the Patriots run and all that. And teams who try to copycat that does not do a very good job. We all seen it,
right?
Especially with the coaches who leave the Patriots and take other jobs. You can't do that,
right?
So you just have to develop your own culture and your own way of doing things. I think that's how you be successful. You can't emulate Bill Belichick and what he did for the Patriots being successful going forward to other teams. You have to have your own style of version and all that. With Bill O'Brien being the Texas head coach, he has done a good job with the team, even though they haven't got to the next level, which is the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. But they have won playoff games. They have been in the playoffs, but he did his own style, his own version of it, instead of doing the Patriot way of Belichick.
All right. Once again, former Patriot Trey Flowers going to Detroit and the fine tune of $90 million.
Like I said, can a brother get $100?
I mean, I'm saying, right? With that being said, that's going to do it for this first half of Gameball NFL Endzone. Coming up in the second half, we're going to talk about moves such as, what's your boy's name? Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that move and much more coming up. Gameball NFL Endzone. We'll be back in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Stay tuned.
Yes, sir. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Now, coming up in the second segment, this is actually a great way to kick off the second segment because we've had mixed opinions about this quarterback. Actually, no, it's actually similar opinions, and it's not a bad one. We're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars signing former Eagles quarterback, who we both agree should probably still be there over your boy. But Nick Foles was signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 4-year deal worth $88 million. The deal could be up to $102 million, as this deal includes $125 million in guaranteed salary. Go ahead and break it down, Nick or Mike. But we both know this is a good find by the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is definitely a great substitution for Blake Bortles. What do you think he brings to Jacksonville?
Well, before we get to that segment, let's go back to again. Can a brother get $100? Can we get $100?
Saying,
can we get $100? I'm just saying. But it looks good on paper, and I'm happy that the Jacksonville Jaguars finally pulled the trigger from the bench Bortles garbage self tragedy that they had to live with for the rest of their careers and lives. Whoever get that bad taste out their mouth. I
gotta do this. I haven't heard this in a while. What was your nickname for the Jaguars?
Fraud Wires. the Jacksonville Fraud Wires. They're a bunch of frauds with Blake Bortles. I said it. The Jacksonville Fraud Wires. But this is good for the Jacksonville Jaguars because we all know what Nick Foles brings to the table. And as a backup, he did help the Philadelphia Eagles deliver a Super Bowl. And also, when Carson Wentz went down, he was lined back to the startup and almost led them to the divisional, actually the championship game if the receiver didn't drop the pass.
Yes.
To where if he would have caught it, I think they would have went to the NFC Championship game. So this is a good find on paper for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But let's see how it integrates into their system. We all know that they have a very good defense. Let's just face the fact they got one of the most talented defense in the game right now. But they needed a quarterback, and finally they got the quarterback. On paper, this looks good. But let's see as the season goes what the Jacksonville Jaguars and Nick Foles could do. In my opinion, they should have traded Carson Wentz and kept Nick Foles.
Agreed.
Everybody knows that because Nick Foles plays a lot better in that system than Carson Wentz. Just be honest. And you also have the offensive coordinator who was the quarterback's coach or assistant with the Philadelphia Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, so they kind of knows what he likes and doesn't like. So that's a win-win for them. But like I said, this looks good on paper, but we'll just have to see how it plays out.
I'm happy, but also kind of at the same time sad because it's almost like he got did dirty by Philadelphia because it's like after everything I did for you, led you to a Super Bowl, got you a ring, about led you back to the Super Bowl after you had so much faith in Carson Wentz and proved you wrong again. And it's the fact that team rallied behind Nick Foles and you still get rid of him. At the same time, how much faith do you have in someone until it's like, you have to go with this. Like Carson, we love you. You know, we appreciate you. He's a talented quarterback. Don't get us wrong, when he's healthy.
Is injury prone.
Yes.
And last 2 seasons he has season-ending injuries with the ACL tear where he was favored to win the MVP. Also his back. And like I said, if it wasn't for Alshon Jeffrey who dropped a pass that Nick Foles threw a perfect ball to, the Eagles wouldn't have went back to the NFC Championship game against the Rams. Let's just be honest. So let's just see how it plays out. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I know they're kicking themselves right now because what Nick Foles met to that team and helped deliver that Super Bowl. They even got a statue say, you want to run the Philly special, whatever, display up there of Nick Foles. I'm like, if you have a statue built like that, don't that tells you we want to resign you? Just saying.
Pressure more than ever on Carson Wentz, obviously. Like,
Yeah,
obviously,
he has to step up this season. He has to.
This is definitely, I feel like it's going to be his defining season. It has to be because, okay, everything that Nick Foles has done, he's gone. You're clearly the franchise quarterback, and if you don't come through this year, it's going to be a tough time in Philly for you, sir.
It is. Yes, it is.
Speaking of the Eagles, welcome back.
I like that. I didn't even think about that.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have traded wide receiver Deshaun Jackson to Philadelphia, in which he played some time ago, where he first started his career with the Eagles. This time around, what do you think Deshaun Jackson does? Do you think that he can help kind of savor a season for?
Oh, absolutely. He still has a lot of left in the tank. I say he still has about 5 to 6 more good playing years in his career. He's hardly ever injured, but he was just in a bad situation with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now you got along with Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar. I don't know if they're going to keep or not. We'll have to see in the upcoming season. And there's still some trade value going on, this and this and that. We don't know, but this is good for Deshaun Jackson. He was like a kid at the candy store when he heard he's going back to Philly. Instead of I'm going back to Cali, I'm going back to Philly. What? So now I'm very happy for Deshaun Jackson. And I know some Philadelphia Eagles fans are very happy that he's come back. And with Chip Kelly and all that was the worst hire. They did him dirty because he was balling before Chip Kelly even came. And that was disrespectful to him where they traded him. We'll talk about that another day. But I'm happy for Deshaun Jackson going back to Philly. And I think he can help Carson Wentz, kind of mentor him, and they could work together and get him better if Carson Wentz stays healthy.
Yes, big if.
If. IF, capitalize or hashtag it.
IFF. If.
Yeah.
He can stay healthy. We're going to go from the Philadelphia Eagles to Houston and Kansas City, actually. Former Houston Texans safety Tyrann Mathieu intends to sign a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. Mathieu, who's only 26, joined the Texans on a 1-year, $7 million deal last offseason after he was released by the Arizona Cardinals just before the start of the NFL year. How good of a find is this for Kansas City?
Oh, this is a great find when they signed him. And you kind of feel for Eric Berry, who they let go, who I thought they would at the end of the season, where his Achilles tear and he wasn't the same player like he was. He was a good player in the locker room, great in the community, who also battled cancer and beat that. And he had to overcome a lot. You just hate to see him go, but I thought they would release him as I predicted. But now they got a hell of a good safety in Tyrann Mathieu. He can ball. He has the same similarities as Eric Berry, but I thought Eric Berry was a little better when he was healthy. That's just my opinion. So he could do the same things, line in the box, and play good in coverage and all that good stuff. So this is where the Chiefs have to be aggressive on defense. But we still don't know what the Tyreek Hill situation going on as the investigation continues. We don't know if they're going to address more on the defensive side or they have to address the offensive side with Tyreek Hill situation. We don't know, but reports we'll find out as the upcoming weeks, maybe months. We don't know, but this is a very good find for the Chiefs. I like this move. And let's see if they can build that defense to go along with that offense. But it just depends on the Tyreek Hill situation.
Absolutely. And, I mean, the thing is, I mean, if there's a bright side, it's an altercation that supposedly it happened in his home. It didn't necessarily say that he was, like, directly involved in the incident. But obviously, you know, this is something that you would have to agree that the Kansas City Chiefs would take seriously, obviously, with the whole Kareem Hunt situation. So obviously they would take the same amount of seriousness towards the situation.
We just don't know.
It gets resolved, but like you said, we just don't know. It's going to be an interesting offseason for Kansas City, but you can definitely tell they're trying to build an all-around great contender moving forward. Staying kind of on the topic of the Houston Texans as well. Defensive back Kareem Jackson intends to sign a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Denver Broncos that includes $23 million guaranteed. Jackson, who is 30, is coming off of his best season of his 9-year NFL career, all spent with the Houston Texans after being selected in the first round, 20th overall of the 2010 draft. What do you like about this pickup by the Denver Broncos? Seems like they're improving their defense.
Well, they need to, and by signing Kareem Jackson, who was with the Houston Texans, shows that Denver wants to get back to that Super Bowl defense like they once had. After that Super Bowl defense that they had, they was never the same for the last 3 or 4 years. So by signing him, it's a start. Even though he's 30, he still has a lot left in the tank. He can provide, and he can be that leader for that secondary, especially in Denver. That's what they was lacking last year, is that leader to where who can hold everybody accountable, and Kareem Jackson does. So he brings a lot of versatility. He can play in the slot against the corner. He can play strong safety. He can play free safety. And also, every once in a while, if you want to be gutsy, he can line the box and blitz and stop the run. He's a very versatile defensive back. So this is very good for Denver. And let's just hope that he can bring that stability back into that defense where they won the Super Bowl a few years back.
All right, the Denver Broncos looking to, once again, restore that Denver offense like you were just mentioning. The AFC, though, AFC East and AFC West, it's going to be an interesting race, I think, when everything's said and done.
After this one, we're going to talk about LaMarcus Joyner signed with the Raiders. You go ahead and read the rest.
Man, the Raiders are stacking up, man. Former Los Angeles Raiders franchise safety, like you just said. Los Angeles Rams. Sorry about that. Franchise safety LaMarcus Joyner plans to sign a 4-year deal with the Oakland Raiders after the Rams and Joyner were unable to come to a long-term agreement. He played last season on a franchise tag and earned $11.28 million. He intercepted 1 pass and ranked 3rd on the team in tackles with 78. The Raiders, once again, looking like they're stacking up both offensively and defensively. What do you like about this pickup by Oakland?
This tells me they want to get back to the old grimy Raider days, to where you had the Jack Tatums and the Howie Longs and so on, and that Raiders great defense to where they just punch you in the mouth and be physical and they don't care. We can't do that now, but back in the day you could. I mean, they was clotheslining people, beating people up on line of scrimmage, knocking people out. They just want to bring back that old school Raiders mentality that made them successful and back in the 70s and the 80s. So they want to bring back that. They want to go out with a bang. Being there last year in Oakland, to where they want to get the fans something. Hopefully they could be in the playoffs. So with Mike Mayock, a former NFL Network analyst who was hired as a general manager, so far he's doing a pretty good job on paper of getting these players to come in with all that salary cap room that they have. But the question is, can it lead to some wins and possibly dethrone the Chiefs in the AFC West division? So this is a good start by signing LaMarcus Joyner, who is a grimy safety that he fits that Raider mold. So let's just see how it plays out.
All right, the Oakland Raiders, man, they're having a great offseason so far. Moving forward, the former Miami Dolphins right tackle Jawan James intends to sign a 4-year, $52 million deal that includes $33 million in guaranteed cash with the Denver Broncos. The deal will keep James as the highest paid right tackle in the NFL. And we talked about this just a second ago with Kareem Jackson. Obviously, they're stacking up again there in Denver. What do you like about this pickup by the Broncos?
That offensive line was horrible. And they feel like they had to sign a player who to fill that offensive line spot. And once they sign James, then they already drafted a rookie few years back to go that left side, that solidifies that right tackle and the left tackle. So now the focus is, can we finish signing a left guard and a right guard to go along with the center and all that? Because I feel like that was one of the weakest points, was that right side, and along with that left guard and right guard. The center played okay, but we'll have to see how it goes. So this is a start. If they want to build in their draft, my opinion, they have to go offense and get that offensive line. They got to get that nasty physicality player. This year's draft class, offensive line wise, is not as deep as it was. It's all defense. But if they can find a few players in the free agency, or if the offensive line player slides down, I heard there's some good ones from Stanford and Wisconsin. If they could find a couple of those two players to fill that void, their offensive line is legit to being good again. But they just have to fill that right guard, left guard. The center's okay, but it's just that right guard, left guard spot.
All right, the Denver Broncos, once again, making some pretty big improvements during this offseason. Staying with, kind of staying in the AFC, linebacker C.J. Mosley is expected to sign a 5-year, $85 million deal with the New York Jets that has $51 million in guaranteed cash. Mosley, who's only 26, was the leading tackler for the NFL's top-ranked defense and was the Baltimore Ravens' most high-profile free agent this offseason. What do you like about this pickup by the Jets?
Well, once he signed a 5-year deal with the Jets, what he did, this is good for the Jets, but will it fit? Is it going to work? We don't know, because the Jets in the draft and free agency, it's just been backfired year in, year out. They have the most cap room in the NFL, and they signed him, and they also lost out on Anthony Barr at the last second. He signed back with the Vikings. How you had him in your lap? What went wrong at the last second to where he backed out? What's going on there? The coach is not there. Then you got Adam Gates, a new coach from the Dolphins who took a job with the Jets. How is that going to play out? And what type of culture he's going to build, we don't know. But is this going to work? I don't know. He's a good player and all that, but is it the right fit? If it's, he wants to get paid. I don't blame him for that. But I would have went better with the Oakland Raiders, in my opinion, because you start seeing something there to where they already have veterans there to pair with the Jets. They don't really have veterans. They're starting over technically. Like I said, it's good to get your money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not denying that. Right. But is it the right fit, though? I don't know. And like I said before, I'm going to say again, can you loan a brother $100? Just saying.
All right, now these next two interesting moves. The first one we're going to talk about was probably like the nationwide head scratcher. This is probably the head scratch maybe heard around the world.
Oh, everybody knows this.
The New York Giants, pretty sure everybody knows this by now, they agreed to trade star receiver Odell Beckham Jr. to the Cleveland Browns. The Giants will receive a first-round 2019 pick, 17th overall. The Browns' second, third-round pick this year, and safety Jabril Peppers for Beckham, the source said. What I want to know is for starters, what I find interesting was the beginning of this past season. This was something that was kind of entertained, and it was kind of thrown out there, whether Odell Beckham would be interested in playing for the Browns. And he said he wouldn't mind playing for the Browns and playing with his former LSU teammate, Jarvis Landry, who are obviously now teammates. Do you think that this was something that was potentially done behind the scenes for a long time, and it kind of came out just kind of all of a sudden, or do the Giants just have plans to kind of reset that franchise?
Well, there were speculations of that, but it was just either a joke or a hoax. We didn't know last season, but now it's reality. This one caught everybody off guard. It definitely caught me off guard, to where once this trade went down, I was like, whoa. And today they had a press conference where he was introduced as the Cleveland Browns. And this shows you that the Cleveland Browns are trying to win and they have a lot of cap space. But on paper, it looks good. But can it translate to wins? And can they make the playoffs? We don't know because it's the Browns. Let's just face the fact they struggled a lot of years, a lot of seasons. They have to make the playoffs since 2002, and this is 2019. That was about 18 years ago, 18, 19 years ago, something like that. But that was a long time ago. For the Giants, some people are bashing them and saying this and this and that. But in their situation, it kind of feels like they have to move on. Odell Beckham Jr. was a headache in the locker room. He wasn't doing it the right way, and he was causing the big scenes on the field to where he got to some altercation with Josh Norman years ago when they played when Josh Norman was with the Panthers. Then he got to it with some coaching staff. Then you saw when he hit the kicker post, whatever you call it, and hit him back in the head. Then he got to altercation with his contract and this and blah, blah, blah. So they didn't want to deal with all that noise in a certain degree. And you just kind of feel like that they didn't want to have that headache anymore. I mean, he's a talented player, and he's a very good player, very gifted player. But at the same time, the Giants is like, we have to move on. So they get Cleveland Browns' first round pick this year, and who they going to get offensively, we don't know. And who's going to be there for it, we don't know. We'll have to see where it plays out. So technically, the Giants are starting over from scratch. They already traded most of their players and let their players go to different teams. So right now, the Giants, they have to bounce back. They have to get a play. There are some good players in this year's draft, the receiver spot, but it's not Odell Beckham Jr. So how they're going to fill that void, I don't know. They did sign Golden Tate to a 4-year contract. That's a start. Golden Tate has that leadership and that experience, and he does have a Super Bowl ring. So who they going to get out on the alongside with Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard? So we'll have to see if the NFL draft comes. So it's a head scratcher, but we don't know how it's going to pan out. And this is Matt Shermer's second year as a head coach. So this could backfire. Could this work? We don't know. So we'll just see how it goes.
And also, speaking of things on paper, you have to imagine the future, and also pending on Kareem Hunt's situation and how long he'll actually have to serve his suspension, you could potentially have a three-headed monster. I mean, you got Jarvis Landry, you got Odell Beckham Jr., and you got an extremely talented running back in Kareem Hunt.
And you also got Chubb, the running back last year as a rookie coming on this season.
So, I mean, on paper, it looks like a pretty stacked offense. But do you also think as well that season-ending injury by Odell Beckham Jr., do you think that was kind of maybe like the final straw as well? It's like maybe we need to go ahead and cut our ties as well?
That could play to a factor. I can't speak from a general manager or owner because I'm not in his head and his mind to think that stuff.
Right.
We're not around him, so we'll have to see how it goes.
All right. Once again, Odell Beckham Jr. to the Cleveland Browns. Future looking bright, and Baker Mayfield's panning out thus far. It's rookie season, so we'll see what happens.
Like we all say, it's the Cleveland Browns. We don't expect nothing from them.
All right, and another move, interesting move. A lot of people say that this move kind of makes sense because of generally known as the play or the call, so to speak. But the Kansas City Chiefs agreed to trade edge rusher D Ford to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are obviously ecstatic because that's the guy that they wanted.
Yeah.
The Niners are expected to give Ford a multi-year deal in the range of 5 years, $87.5 million, according to a source. The Chiefs will receive a second-round draft pick of the 2020 draft. How good of a find is this for San Francisco?
It's a great find for the San Francisco 49ers because they ain't give up nothing but a second-round pick. if you're a Chiefs and a Chiefs fan, you're kicking yourselves. This is stupid. You let D4 go for a second-round pick who signed a huge contract with the 49ers. The 49ers out-hustled you, and they still have their first round pick. I'm holding that hostage. You're going to give me a first-round pick. Either this year or next year, I'm receiving that. A second-round pick means nothing. It really don't. It means nothing to the 49ers. Okay, second-round pick, sure. I will hold them hostage for 2 first rounds at least. I mean, D4, he's a good player, but when that lineup in the Nutrizone offside, could that be the last straw with the Chiefs? We don't know. Also, can he live up to that height to where he got that big money contract? And he also he was injury prone first part of his early career with the Chiefs. So that has to play in a factor. So this is kind of risky. I don't know. But let's just see how it pans out. They do have their pass rusher. And are they going to dress another pass rusher in the draft? We don't know. But this is a good deal for the San Francisco 49ers because they basically gave her a second-round pick. You want a second-round pick? Sure, there you go.
Right.
But the Chiefs, stupid. You could have got a first-round pick for D4. Come on. He was a former first-round player. I'm holding him hostage for a first-round pick. This is good for the 49ers, bad for the Chiefs. And I'm going to leave it at that. Just being honest, just saying.
I mean, as a Chiefs fan, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, we knew that they were kind of entertaining the fact just because of him not potentially fitting in. They're switching to a 3-4 from a 4-3 defense. Mm-hmm. And obviously him and Justin Houston may not have been a fit for that system, but I agree with you. They could have got something way better in return for that. Obviously, D4 and the 49ers win when everything's said and done on that move. Mm-hmm. Now, this one also is one that I want to talk about. Le'Veon Bell signing with the New York Jets for a 4-year, $52.5 million deal with the max value of $61 million and includes $35 million guaranteed. Before I pass this to you, Mike, I do want to say this, and I want to know if you agree. This clearly has to be a money security move more than anything, because clearly this is not about winning. You're going from, first and foremost, just think about this, and I want to put this out there. This is a fact. Last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers' offensive line was ranked first in the NFL.
The time is 8:30
First.
and the library is closing at 9.
You're going to an offensive line as of right now. We don't know what's going to happen. They can still improve that. So, I mean, this ain't the be all, do all. They could potentially build around Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. But the New York Jets, last season, their offensive line was ranked 25th. 25th. You're going from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the New York Jets. Like I said, this is clearly a money move. You're 27 years old, so you're still kind of in your prime, but we know that the National Football League, the lifeline for a running back is at least early 30s.
Yeah. Because
of the wear and tear. You don't really have very many weapons offensively, if any, besides yourself. I would imagine that they're going to run this man to the ground and I don't see this man lasting a whole season unless they really change the format of that offensive line. That man is definitely setting himself up for the future. I can't see anything else besides that. I don't know if you agree on that or what is your take about this pickup by the Jets?
I do agree, and I will piggyback off of your part in a minute, but clearly this is a money move. Because he wants to get paid for being a running back and a receiver and all that when he did for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I get it. Get your money, and you deserve it. But come on, the New York Jets, really? We don't know if they're going to have a good season or not. This might be a bad move. Also, you haven't played in a year, so what type of football shape you going to be in?
True.
That factors.
Yep.
There's a difference between to being off-season condition or away from football and football shape is
Right.
two totally different things. And when I was playing football, even though I didn't play at the pro level, but it's still the same concept. You have to be in football shape to where you're going to take all them hits and wear and tear. We don't know how he's going to play because he was out for at least a year, but he could have went to the Raiders because the Raiders had interest in him. I'll put this one out there. You might like this one. What he could have been a Chief with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all the weapons on that offense, despite what Tyreek Hill's going through. You know that offense would be like with Le'Veon Bell in the backfield.
Man, I can't even. Man,
Let that marinate your brain for a little bit. Let that sauce marinate your brain for a little bit.
Juggernaut.
And that will be a juggernaut offense. Just put it this way: what would Le'Veon Bell was with the Chiefs? Where would your mind be at right now?
Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I mean, I think that would be on everybody's mind. To tell you the truth, that would have, after that, that would be a unanimous favorite, in my opinion, even in Las Vegas. Even in
regardless.
Las Vegas.
Regardless. And Andy Reid couldn't screw up with Le'Veon Bell. If Le'Veon Bell was the Chiefs, Andy Reid should not screw up. I'm just saying. But it's clear about the money. There's no brainer about that. He wants to get paid. He deserves to get paid, but does winning matter to you? And we all said this is kind of a dumb move, but I get it. You want your money, but you couldn't went elsewhere, got your money, and still could compete for the playoff spot.
Yep.
You even had the 49ers looking at you at one point. But you chose the Jets over those three teams that's already established. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I don't know. We'll just have to see.
And another fun fact with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, both of them go to teams, AFC East and AFC West, ironically, that were last in the division and finished 4-12.
True. Yeah. That is a good analogy, but the one team is better than the other one.
By a long shot.
The Oakland Raiders is better than the Jets.
By a long shot. All right, and the last one that we're going to talk about for this episode is former Seattle Seahawks safety Earl Thomas signs a 4-year deal, $55 million worth in 2019. Thomas receives $32 million fully guaranteed, including a $20 million signing bonus. What do you think about this move by the Baltimore Ravens and picking up Earl Thomas?
Oh, this is a great move about the Baltimore Ravens picking up Earl Thomas because they let Eric Waddle go, but they get a younger version of him. Earl Thomas is a very good player. He's very versatile in the safety. He was playing good before he broke his leg. I forgot which team he broke his leg against I forgot which team that he had the season-ending injury that he played against, but Earl Thomas is a good player, and I think he's going to come fully healthy. I think he reinnovate that Baltimore Ravens defense. Now, the question is, who's going to replace C.J. Mosley at that linebacker spot? Are they going to draft a linebacker in the draft? We don't know, but Earl Thomas, clearly for that Baltimore Ravens defense, he fits that mold because for the longest time, Ed Reed was that dude. Let's just be honest. Who was inducted to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Ed Reed, who was inducted to the Hall of Fame along with his elder brother, Ray Lewis. So this is a good find for the Baltimore Ravens, and they're in like the win now mentality. And they lost Suggs, so they have to replace Terrell Suggs. So this, like I said, this is a start for Baltimore Ravens, and you know how they play aggressively on defense. And Earl Thomas is versatile, aggressive. He can play strong. He can play free. He can play some corner covering the slot. He can line up the box. He can blitz the quarterback, as well as cover good in coverage. And his IQ defensively is so good to where it's not another player like him. So this is a good find by the Baltimore Ravens.
Strongly agree. Definitely best of luck, and hopefully that he's 100% when everything's said and done. Obviously, we know he suffered a pretty big injury last season while he was in Seattle. And the sad fact that this man was this close to becoming a Chief during the trade. We ain't gonna get into that.
Well,
but,
he could have became a Cowboy too, but they didn't have the cap room like the Baltimore Ravens did. Let's just be honest. And the Chiefs should have signed him. I don't know what the hell they was doing, but it is what it is. He's a Raven. I think he'll excel at the Baltimore Ravens defense.
Strongly agree.
Because there's no other Earl Thomas out there. And he's still in his prime. And you still have about, in my opinion, 5 to good 6 years left in him, in my opinion. That's if he doesn't retire. But he's a balling machine.
Agreed. And that's going to do it for this edition of Gameball NFL Endzone.
Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. The links will be description down below of the episodes where you can follow us at. Also, we launched our clothing line. We got everything, including fitness gear. So even to fitness and all that good stuff, you want to get you some regular gear, get ready for summer, please go to our clothing website at happyprintingcustoms.com/_gameball. That's happy shirt customs, is happyshirtprintingcustoms.com/gameball_appeal. And I'm going to pass it to you.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. That is Joville Entertainment. On Twitter at JovilleNT to be exact. Be on the lookout. This month I will be releasing the video for my single I'm dropping, Draped in Gold. Shout out to Sin City as well. We'll be having a video release party for him as well. You can also check his single on SoundCloud, Role Model, which is released now. Also a big shout out to Seb the Haitian, who will also be releasing his EP on the 29th of this month as well.
And we can't forget about our other half, Brother Luke. You can find him on Facebook, Instagram as Luke Harnett, and on Twitter as Luke Harnett2, folks. I'm Michael Riley.
I'm Marcus Young Jenkins.
This is Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, we're coming up on our mock draft updates soon.